Well, hey everyone, welcome back. Today, let's get the bark off of this log. I don't feel like swinging an axe for the next 20 minutes, but I did get started, and it only took me like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5. But take a look. With just the Fiskars, couple strikes, it popped off. This bark is ready to come off. That's that end, but it's also just packed full of dirt, rock, gravel, whatever. But on this end, there's a nice gap between the bark and the wood. So let me get the saw running. The chain's already dull, so I don't care. And it's dead anyway. So let me get the saw warmed up, and let's see how well a wore-out chain can take off or put cuts in bark enough to get it to peel off. So let's keep going. God, look how thick that is. That's just the bark. In this case, packed full of dirt. But now, let's get this cut up and moved into the truck. So I did get the chain replaced. I got a new chain on it now. Here's the chain I was using last night. If it'll focus. But this chain is probably got... That chain's probably got one more sharpening left in it. That's okay. I'll use it for stuff like this where it's got to come... Bark's got to come off to make the cutting nicer again. So... It is the next morning, and as you can tell from nice sunny skies to overcast, and it's not raining, it's not foggy, but there is water coming out, there is rain coming out of the sky. So, when we get the saw fired up, cut a couple off, and I think we'll wrap it up. One log down. That one's from the last one. With these two falling over, and that one cut up into pieces. With one right here on the splitter. 3 left. I am done. I am beat. I'm going home. But there's another cord. I'll drop it off before I get home, and I'll start all over. One big one left to go for here. So, until next week, thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. And as always, travel safely.